let's begin with the Daily Mail, Josh.
Yeah, Daily Mail's absolutely smashing it today.
Yeah.
They've got, first of all, is this the end for Holly and Phil? And I didn't know that they were a couple. I thought he was gay. So that's surprising for me.
Yes, and for his wife, who's been through a roller coaster.
Yeah, so this is all very confusing. He's just getting around. And then there's also at the top, I gave my husband a threesome for his 40th, and I've got to say it was very... I was honoured for Pamela to ask me to be involved in that, and it was a wonderful experience. Happy birthday, by the way, Phil.
That was like 7 years ago, though.
It wasn't my 40th. No. She asked me for her husband's 40th.
Oh, I get it. And you just stepped in to help. I see.
You know,
Happy to help.
I think jokes are much better when they're explained.
Yeah,
that's my personal. That's the way I feel about it. And but the big story they have here: don't say convicts. It upsets criminals. And of course, we don't want to upset criminals because they're really great people. Some of my best friends. So all ex-cons are actually now they should be called prison leavers, persons with lived experience. And this is, as you would say, the blob.
Well, it says it in the article, it's not just me.
You would say it, and the Daily Mail would say it. It's the blob, and I'm going to say it for this time. It's the blob being absolutely ridiculous. And when you've got loads of, you've got a personnel shortage, and you've got loads of people leaving the prison service, and then they're focusing on this ridiculousness.
Yeah, and I love that prison leavers. I mean, it's only going to anger prison remainers, isn't it? I mean, it's all going to kick off again. And then this idea of persons with lived experience. I mean, that's everyone. So it's very much this kind of... It's this mentality, Stephen, of a certain section of... you could call it the left, call it what you want, that thinks that the criminal is sort of the real victim we have to be nice to, and also that thinks they can change language and that's more important than changing reality. Well, what do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I think there was an element of understanding behind this because the article came originally from what you would call people when they leave the prison service. And the issue that you have about ex-cons is that kind of like you want to give them a fresh start, and if you say ex-con, you know, like how are they going to be able to be on a level footing with people once they've served their time? I have a particular problem with ex-con, and that is I'm pretty sure that is a dyed-in-the-wool Americanism. I don't think anyone in Britain has been using the phrase cons for convicts. And yes, fair enough, the actual prisoners call themselves cons in the same way as some people, you know, call the police the cops now, which I do also believe is a hangover Americanism. So in many ways, I'm happy with them to choose the phrase offenders, because I think it's desperately English. I like that.
You're going to fit in here, Stephen, at GB News. I love that. These Yankees with their language. Can I just say, I agree with Stephen on one thing, or roughly what he was saying, that it says that some of them are on remand ahead of trial and haven't been convicted. That actually seemed the one reasonable point here. If you're on remand, you don't really want to be called a convict because you haven't even been convicted. That did seem...
Yeah, they probably did it. But the Justice Secretary also... So the inmates, they call them residents. This is why it all started. They weren't called... they were saying, call them residents rather than... And he was like, wait a minute, this is out of order. But then he said, you know what he says about the blob in the department, this is the Justice Secretary, he said, they act like they're running a North London playgroup. And come on, look, I've spent a lot of time in North London playgroups.
It's hell.
Let's just say there's a lot of little... criminals, little convicts in there. Little convicts in there.
It's a lot harder to get into a North London playgroup, though, isn't it?
Yeah, you can't escape.
There's a waiting list. I'm pretty sure with prison, the entry is pretty much instantaneous. The right thing to do.
They'll remand.